And ladies and gentlemen, before we move ahead, may I also invite on stage eminent speaker, Professor Dr. Surbhi Singh. She is from GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Research. And I would request Ms. Mamta Shah to kindly welcome Professor Dr. Surbhi Singh with the floral bouquet. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. You may kindly grace the stage, take a seat, and for the next keynote address, we would like to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Ashish Kundra ji, Principal Secretary and Transport Commissioner, Government of Delhi. And today he is going to speak on making Delhi a role model for the sustainable transportation system in India. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands on Ashish Kundra ji.
Thank you very much, Shri Vinay Kumar ji, MD of NCRTC, organizers of the event, Professor Mamta, I didn't get your name, and the guests in the audience. Thank you very much for this session in the morning. I think it is a rather difficult time to be talking about sustainable transport because of the pollution outside, but in a way it is let's say it's an opportune time. So my colleague here has laid out a very impressive blueprint of how regional connectivity will improve, and I think it's a fantastic job that they are doing. And hopefully, when the Meerut line starts, a lot of traffic which comes into Delhi and that side will in a way ease out, and we'll see also a decongestion of the city. Some people will try to start living in Meerut and commuting onto this framework. So what I'll do is I'll start on the other end of the spectrum, which is the personal transport, and then come to public transport. Personal transport in Delhi, we have something like 1.3 crore registered vehicles in Delhi. Now 2 crores, that's a huge number. No other city in India has these kind of vehicle numbers. And if we add vehicles which are coming from the satellite towns, it's the load is surely unsustainable. Out of these 1.3 crore vehicles, roughly about 50 lakh are those which are 10-year-old diesel vehicles or 15-year-old petrol, more than 15-year-old petrol vehicles. Now, while we have deregistered all of them, but the fact of the matter is that some of them still might be plying on the roads of Delhi. That is one part. 2/3 of this 1.3 crore vehicles are two-wheelers. Now, in the matrix of what we are trying to do, first of all, we are trying to move to clean fuel technologies. So, which means we are encouraging the use of BS6, CNG, and electric. So, if I just take these three fuel types, of the active registered vehicles in Delhi, which is about 80 lakhs, to 30% are already in the clean fuel space, which means increasingly the number of clean fuel technology based vehicles is increasing in Delhi. We have given a major push to electric mobility in the personal space, and I'm happy to share that the numbers this year are very, very encouraging. More than 10% of newly registered vehicles are electric. In fact, the numbers in October are touching 11%. And two-wheelers is the fastest growing segment, unlike what it was a year ago when e-rickshaws were the main segment of growth in electric mobility. So which is very heartening, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement and uptake of electric mobility. Now, so we have a purchase incentive matrix, we have a digital framework in which we give subsidies to people who buy electric vehicles. And we have given mandates that within a week of purchase, the subsidy would be disbursed. And fortunately, we have been able to stick to that promise. And this digital architecture which we have created of subsidy disbursement is working quite well. The next area of focus for us is the charging infrastructure. So we have recently launched a charging action plan where we have said that 18,000 charging points will be established across the city by 2025. Now this will be a mix of fast chargers, slow chargers, and battery swapping infrastructure. As we talk, We have 3,000 charging points in the city, and these numbers are growing very fast. So in the two-wheeler and three-wheeler space, I expect that the battery swapping model is going to be the model which will accelerate the uptake of electric mobility in the coming couple of years. Having said that, we are also trying to give a push to the regulators, a regulatory push to the aggregators. A large number of fleet on the streets of Delhi is because of ride-hailing companies, food delivery companies, e-commerce companies, and typically these people who are on the road, they are gig economy workers who are using second-hand, third-hand kind of vehicles, which are usually very polluting. So we are in a very advanced stage of notifying rules, which will be the regulatory framework for aggregators, which have mandates for transitioning to electric mobility year on year, with the ultimate goal that by 2030 in Delhi, all such companies, whether it is Ola and Uber of the world, or Zomato, Swiggy of the world, or Amazon, etc., their fleet drivers will ride only electric vehicles by 2030. So that's the second policy push that we are giving. However, let's move to the space of public transit. And today, Delhi Metro carries something like 4 million passengers every day, and the bus system also carries roughly the same number of passenger trips every day. And these are huge numbers, but I think there is a lot of scope in improvement of our bus transit system particularly. And the last time we had a major induction of bus fleet in Delhi was during the Commonwealth Games, when these red buses, they came, the low floor CNG buses. And now we are in the process of the next round of induction. We already have 300 electric buses in our fleet. We have placed firm orders for another 1,500, and we have floated bids for another 4,000 electric buses. And then another bid is coming up for 2,000 plus electric buses. So short point, our goal is by 2025, 80% of our bus fleet should be electric. Now, having said that, the main thing is how do we make bus travel a cool affair? So if you compare the metro rider vis-a-vis the bus rider, the average bus rider is someone who has no other recourse to any kind of transport and is looking at a cheap solution for transport. They are regular commuters. And in case of metro, a lot of people who were earlier using, let's say, their own personal two-wheelers, etc., they have made a shift, because I think one defining difference was the predictability of service. So the metro line, okay, this train is going to start at 9 o'clock, it will start at 9 o'clock. In case of buses, that certainty and predictability because of traffic variation is not there. But what we have done to overcome that recently, we have launched this mobile app called One Delhi, which gives you live GPS feed of all buses in Delhi. So if you're standing at any bus stop and you want to, let's say, from here go to Connaught Place, you'll find out which is the nearest bus which is coming to your bus stop and in how much time. So I think that will be a significant step towards increased adoption of bus travel in Delhi. But we are not stopping there. We are also now coming up with another scheme called the Premium Bus Aggregator Scheme. So, which means we are trying to say that private investors will put their money, buy buses, run buses, which are app-based services in Delhi, which have pushback seats and all of that, and deregulated fares. So people of Delhi, professionals and others, they are willing to pay higher for a better quality service if there is one. So I think once this is launched, so imagine that from the proximity of your home, you get a point-to-point, almost a point-to-point service to your office. Why won't anybody do it? I mean, when we travel abroad, all of us hop onto the London bus service. But here, I don't know how many have actually traveled on DTC buses. and there is a certain degree of hesitation in doing so. So I hope the last thing which I want to touch upon is the multimodal integration, which Vinay ji also mentioned. And unfortunately, like most things in India, we have been working in compartments. So Delhi Metro has its own network; they plan it in a certain fashion. The DTC has its own network; they plan it in a certain fashion, and there is no meeting point. What we have done very recently, we have had a dialogue with Delhi Metro. So they started this last mile bus service, which are these smaller buses, electric buses. They only had 100 of them. We are taking over those buses in DTC, and we are adding another 400 buses, which will basically be neighborhood bus service, which means small buses, let's say moving around in Dwarka catchment area and connecting to the Dwarka metro station. So that people have easy connectivity from their home to the metro, similarly metro to their workplace, or metro to the commercial area, whatever it is. So I hope with a mix of these measures that we are trying to implement, we'll see a greater use of public transport, without which the local sources of pollution, as we talk about, the vehicular pollution, will continue to, and then we come out with these band-aid solutions for a problem which is endemic. And I think that really is not the approach which we should adopt, but we should look at something which is sustainable and in the long run will make a game-changing difference in the city. So thank you very much for being patient and listening to me.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that keynote address.